Well, shit, I don't think we're going to be able to recruit any more player clans, and that's how we're going to start this episode. Well, shit, I need to leave. Goodbye. I've been searching through all our different prisoners here for maybe just one minor clan where we have the leader and they would join. Alas, wait, maybe attack the Jewel. This guy, I can't remember if we already tried to do this. Now we already tried to. So yeah, so we'll start this episode off here with disappointment and loneliness. As we continue on with our campaign here, welcome back again to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. This is our Aserai Peasants Revolt. Our forces out east continue to do good work here, and we are absolutely fucking beset by enemies here in the center of the map. And frankly, I have absolute Onika Castle cabin fever here. This guy just got ditched by some units. We're going to try to destroy this guy here. I wonder if his little Legion guy is the leader. We badly need more armies, of course, in this campaign. I'm on a marathon session. This is about 3 hours worth of playing. I've had just a little bit of time today to really indulge in this game. Although I guess 3 hours, some of you guys would be like, damn, I wish I had 3 hours to play. I am at work, so we're trying to get away with it here today. We've had a nice lazy Sunday. Sometimes at the firehouse, things are quiet. So we're going to try to destroy these forces. And then I've got to figure out some plan basically to get the fuck out of here. I'm actually thinking about dumping Onika Castle because this has turned into just a quagmire, just an unstoppable, never-ending conveyor belt of enemies. And I think we need to change something to try to change the strategic board. So let's try something different. In fact, in this battle here, there looks like there's another battle even after this, but what we're going to try to do in this battle here, again, same fucking battlefield. It's raining. I guess you could say it's a little bit different. It's gray instead of the normal battlefield. Over the course of the last couple hours of play, I must have played on this exact same battlefield. I must have fought 5 or 6 battles, right? We're tripping over the bones, or not the bones, but the carcasses of the enemy that we just destroyed yesterday and 3 days before. And it's been just a parade of Northern Empire, Western Empire, and Southern Empire forces assaulting Onika Castle and Poros. And I'm just going to give up. They took Poros back, and I'm sort of formulating what I'm going to do here in between these battles. Now, I better stick to this battle here. We outnumbered the enemy. They actually tried to run from us, so this is going to be short and sweet. But I want to include a few more of these in the campaign just because I'd like to give guys an idea of how to deal with entrenched enemies. They are defending there in a big long line, archers and infantry, and we're going to do a little bit of tactics here and help you guys develop your own tactics on how to deal with enemies that are playing defensive, turtling up as I like to call it. So the first thing we're going to do, since it looks like they're allowing us, is we're going to shove them off the high ground here. In the famous Battle of Austerlitz, where Napoleon fought the 3 coalition armies, 1805, there was something called I think it was called the Platzen Heights or something like that. And what Napoleon effectively did is bait the enemy to attack, I think it was his right flank. The enemy charged his right flank, and he did that to get them to vacate these heights so that he could then assault it, put more of his troops on there, get some guys up there with cannon and muskets and stuff like that. Although I'm not sure they got cannon all the way onto the Pleasant Heights or something. My memory on that battle, it was years ago that I watched some epic history TV on it. Anyways, we're stealing the high ground here, and anytime you can do that in Bannerlord, you want to do that, right? Your archers fire better, you have a better idea of the battlefield, they have theater shooting to shoot down on the enemy. As long as you're not going over a ridge to attack the enemy, it's advantageous. Now we're going to start this battle with a ranged battle, but at some point or other, we're either going to have to collapse on this huge mass of enemy troops, or the more hopeful thing is that we can do enough damage to them, their cavalry wings, their archer wings, that they will then break out of their turtle formation and make an aggressive move. If we can get them to do that, that is the preference. right? If we can get them to go offensive, of course, then it plays right into the strategy, our kill box, these skirmishers, and we'll be able to swallow up that infantry division. So how do you do that, right? We want to try to break this enemy morale, basically signal to the AI, hey, you stupid fucks, you should charge, otherwise, you know, you're going to lose. We're just going to pelt you with arrows. Well, you're going to do exactly what we're doing here, which is just sort of jockeying back and forth with their cavalry. You notice their units can't attack us here, only this cavalry unit. That protects us from their archers. And then our other archers, we're just going to skirmish at range, right? We're going to sit at about 150 range here and basically bombard the enemy. Our units are more spread, they're more protected. We have a cav line and an infantry line and shield wall. And what I'm hoping is that once we do enough damage, that force of 700 men in the center will break and try to advance on us. The AI, of course, is programmed that if something's not going well, change what you're doing, right? And in this case, that's going to play, hopefully, right into our strengths here. Our 2nd and 3rd Corps over there on the left. Over here on this right side, we've got the 7th, 8th, 6th, and the 5th is kind of up here on the ridge as well. And all we're doing is basically setting the trap. As the enemy charges and comes over this ridge, or so we hope, they're going to get shellacked. Now, their cavalry's already sort of taken a beating. See, their troops here are just basically sitting back defensive. But I can also hear our arrows drilling these guys. And I don't see a lot of red death spam, right? I don't see us getting pounded either. Now, this is a very methodical process, right? This is a defensive battle, so there's no hurry. We're just going to continue to position troops in a manner that's advantageous. We're giving them nice line of sight on the enemy forces here, and we're protecting on our wings against this cavalry. We don't need their cavalry charging through our archers. We got a line of mounted pillagers here. Actually, those are they're the mounted pillagers, the tier 2 horse archers. But, you know, they can shoot. They do a little bit of plinking damage. And if there's 70 of them, you know, they'll eventually start causing casualties. I'm going to continue to fire javelins in here, but I like it, right? I see a lot more arrows coming from our troops than coming from the enemy. In fact, every time they move like this, I'll take it as an opportunity just to bitch slap some of these guys around. You obviously got to be careful doing stuff like that, but the old hit and run is what I prefer. They already might be doing it. There's infantry moving forward. We'll see. You could see this ridge. They have to come over. The 6th Corps is in brilliant position. It's basically going to be able to bore into the enemy's left. The 5th, we want to move a little bit higher on this ridge. They don't have great line of sight. I think the enemy's already coming. Let's start positioning here just in case they are. Yeah, they're definitely coming out of their shell. So 1st, 2nd, and 3rd down there on the far side. I know that's difficult for you to see. We're doing that so all 3 of those units can close in here, V-shaped collapse. This is effectively a quasi-kill box. We're just not going to have time to get archers behind them. And their archers are coming over this ridge. So we're going to shove cav in the face of those archers. And this 6th Corps, of course, we're going to charge. All these ladies with no shield, no armor, right? We want a cav line protecting them so that they're not completely scorched. And then we will have this 6th Corps. Right now, they're sparring beautifully. They're just sort of shooting up in there. Now that the enemy's past the 6th Corps, perfect time for us to start boring in. So we're going to push that 1st, 2nd, and 3rd further away because we want our archers to have time to work here, right? We want our units pounding the enemy, softening them up. The 6th Corps can now charge behind the enemy. You can see the enemy has a lot of fairly weak troops. Now, this is a battle we're for sure going to win, right? This is a lot of dance steps just to make sure that we don't suffer 400 casualties. And in we go here. Now, this is actually one of those opportunities where I might... never mind. I did that recently. I was going to say, show you guys what happens if you auto-resolve. You guys get it. Almost everybody visiting the channel appreciates and understands how important tactics are. All right, so you can see our 6th Corps is following me. The 1st, 2nd, and 3rd is basically just baiting them as they get sprayed with arrows from the 4th and 5th. The 7th and 8th are trundling through their archers, doing damage. The 2nd is called back to me. That's the cavalry division. They'll be coming through here, adding their shields to the mix. And this infantry that's already weakened is just going to vaporize. I mean, this is absolutely that scene from The Equalizer. I'm looking down at my stopwatch. You have 16 seconds. You know, Denzel Washington role play here, 15, 14, and the enemy melts. Now, why is it important, right? Of course, in this campaign to limit our casualties because we just don't have troops like a normal campaign, right? You normally have all kinds of lords and all kinds of castles full of troops, especially where we are right now with Onika Castle. We are a long ways away from reinforcements, and we're beset by enemies. So more on that after this battle, but we've got to limit casualties here because there was another army coming. There was another. Look at this guy. He looks like a hobbit. He's got fucking hairy feet, and see if we can get a good angle. Look at that shit. He's got hairy legs and feet. We got a bushwhacker hobbit here in the army. Go get him, buddy. That's fucking amazing. But we're just beset here by these 3 different kingdoms, the 3 different imperial kingdoms, and we've got to leave. I'm basically going to abandon Onika Castle. We've left a little bit of a garrison there, so it's not instant, but we're going to leave. And I think we're going to head out west. I think we're going to try to take this fight to the enemy. It took them forever to run down this last lord. Thank goodness we have the RTS mod. But these looters, lots of looters in the army. They're still getting it done, right? These fucking homeless men looking motherfuckers. And 100 casualties here and dispatched, that force, an 8-to-1 KDR, despite the fact that we have mounted pillagers and looters. We'll take we're taking those caravan troops. They're like sort of quasi legal per the rules that we have for the campaign. No plate, no scale. We're not taking any forces that are clearly like wearing noble armor. We're not taking any of the normal troop lines, so no Aserai, Imperial, etc. units. You'll still see some in the army, of course, just because our companion armies continue to recruit them. Very, very naughty. Man, I just can't get it. And there's another army. Motherfucker. Thinking. Well, at least he took Shibble Zoomer, right? He's definitely Wahan the Golden, and our other force out there is holding the fort. And this really is astonishing. I might have to look back at this later on. I would say this is conservatively 8 to 10 armies we've had to face in 10 days of gameplay. Every day we've had to fight an army our size or larger. Now, this is good. I don't know this battlefield very well, but this is a very interesting, intricate battlefield, and this is going to add a little layer of interest to these battles. I'm sure some of you guys are absolutely sick to death like I am of fighting on the same battlefield over and over. Well, this is going to allow us to fight here. We'll recruit an insane looter from the village. For some reason or other, there's an insane looter. I guess that's the village insane looter. And this is at least going to be a different tactical battle here. As this unbelievable onslaught of the enemy keeps coming. I can't really, I guess I could just leave, but I don't want to leave these forces intact before we leave. So just jockeying around here so we have a little bit of daylight. And this is a very powerful force too. They have a lot of tier 5 and 6 units. So we will have a little battle at dawn here, hopefully in that village, because that looks... We got a 4-foot-tall Archon Miron here with his guards tower over him. Come get some, you mini Napoleon. And not only are we outnumbered, but the power bar greatly favors them. So tactics are the order of the day here. Every single one of these battles, well, except that last one, we probably would have lost without tactics. Now, I love battlefields like this. There's all kinds of places to funnel the enemy. It's difficult for them to push troops through because there's all these houses and alleyways. There's also a peekaboo ridge here, definitively a peekaboo ridge. More towards the left, more towards over here, but this is definitely going to work. I want to shove a square and defensive units up there by the houses, and we're going to give them an unbelievable volley when they come through those alleyways. All right, so let's get creative here. In fact, let's sit up. Let's get a little more caffeine here. All our normal units, of course, the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Cavalry, shock troops, crossbow. 5th is archers. Let's see what we're going to do here. The ridge here is beautiful. It's almost a custom-made peekaboo ridge. And I'll try to describe this as I'm setting up our units. The enemy has to come over this hill, over this village hill. And as they do so, we're going to have this large phalanx of spread archers and skirmishers, shredding everything that comes over that hill. On top of that, we're going to compact the enemy by putting a square of infantry and defensive cavalry here. Now, I've got the first. The first, of course, will be our defensive cavalry. I don't want too many units. 80 is perfect for that first. That's about the right number. You don't want to have 400 guys in a square because then nobody's attacking. Guys in a square will kind of swing their weapons at people near them, but they won't do much damage. So you really need to have your squares be on the smaller side. I would say an eighth of your army is a good maximum. Like 100 here would be the most. 7th, 8th. So the 7th I'm going to probably dismount. These are horse archers. They're just worthless. I mean, not worthless, but these are the mounted pillagers, those tier 2 guys. Let's put the 8th right there in a shield wall, or the 2nd, excuse me, in a shield wall. And then what we'll do is dismount the 7th. We'll leave that cavalry there, that 2nd division there. Maybe later on we'll dismount them. And behind them, skirmishers and shock troops, right? The 6th division is a mix. There's actually a few archers in there as well. You see how that house kind of buttresses that unit as well. As the enemy comes around there, they're going to be forced to one side or the other. And this is the angle I'm talking about. You see this valley where the campfire is? It runs right through basically the undulating lower part of this Peekaboo Ridge, reverse slope decline. All these archers will be able to shoot completely protected at uphill and drilling compacted targets. Meanwhile, the 8th and 3rd can hold the left. Now we've got to get this 7th off their horses and back here in decent position to shoot. I like to examine no, not charge. God damn it. I'm going to have to manually set these guys. There's like nowhere for me to click where it doesn't make them charge. We're not charging, don't worry. So the 8th is in good position. The 2nd can hold over here. Let's get that 7th just tucked down there a little bit. And these guys right here. God damn it. I'm gonna have to move around here a little bit until my unit is fucking cheering and roaring. We're not charging there, ladies. You guys are just putting your big fat booty right here. I like big butts, and I cannot lie for sure when there's a bunch of them holding a narrow place. And the death spam has already started as our archers unleash hell. It's a beautiful landscape. There's like olive trees and shit like that, and flaming arrows being shot right into a compacted enemy. And look at how badly they are compacted. This looks like a bad Black Friday sale where nobody gets to buy any goods for sale. Instead, they all get shot to death. And the death spam is 80 or 90% green already. This is an elite army we're facing. I can't afford to do it, but you can watch the death spam. We're killing high-level troops. And it is a shredding. I mean, this is astonishing so far. Now, they've got some cav that broke through here. Let's do a ring defense with the 8th. We'll put the 3rd in the middle of them. That way, those guys have a little bit of protection from all this jab cav. Some horse archers in here. But I don't think this is too big of a threat. And these ladies are very happy to chop these horses off their... chop these mounts off their horses. They're not going to have too much of a problem with that. That square is starting to break down, but that's okay, right? It's doing its job. And look at these archers just shred it, right? They are shredding everything. The 6th division can be starting to move towards the enemy because we're going to start to charge here as the square breaks down. I'm just moving the square downhill. That way the enemy can't really fixate and get all of its firepower on it. You can picture a lot of the units just chasing that square down the hill, and that's exactly what's happening. And they're chasing it into a maelstrom. I use that word too much. They're chasing it into a hail of flaming arrows and crossbow bolts. Let's move this 8th and 3rd on the enemy's right. Those guys can now charge. The 6th Corps can now charge. And this infantry charge that poured down the valley is about to get wiped out. I mean, they are getting completely exterminated. I don't see any of our troops dying. I mean, well, there was a few. I spoke too soon, but these are legionnaires and spearmen and whatnot, and there was just a complete wipeout, extermination of this high-end Southern Empire force. All right, let's hold fire here to move these units back. See how many more waves there are. Looking up at the power bar, they have at least one major wave. And looking up at our power bar, we probably have under 50 casualties, maybe under 100. Who's this? There's like a legionnaire in the midst of our units. Get the fuck out of here. All right, I still hear them yelling. There's some dipshit trying to stab me. Whoops, we're killing our own units. They've got cavalry kind of charging down the hill. We like this, right? There's 400 infantry still coming down there. Good, right? We like it. Bring more fucks. The arrow fucking barrage continues. Force bandits. We still have force bandits in our army. Of course, desert snipers. Sane is a character. I'm just watching the death spam now. Force bandit. Arboreal. They're not great archers, but put in a position to do well, and they do just fine. Now that there's enough infantry down the slope, these 3 different infantry divisions can just give them hell, kill them all. And there's looters in here, but between the flaming arrows and that barrage and all these women swinging their axes, man, did this enemy get their shit pushed in hard. Now, they have archers here at the top of the ridge that finally got their chance to shoot, and that's all they're going to shoot. They're going to get like 1 volley off. Now we're going to bore into them here and just attack recklessly. Fee and Champ's getting knocked on their back. On your back, bitches. I fucking love it. Fucking asshole. Motherfucker. Oh, shit. I've managed to get myself separated as usual. I've got a tendency to do that. Hugh the Hammer. This guy has no fear. No caution. Oh, shit. Maybe I should. 59 damage to my head. All right, let's push this archer division up on the enemy left. But I think this battle's over. A lot of their units are running sideways. This bitch-ass Fiend Champ. There's a handful of archers still shooting here in the center of the village. But these guys are going to break apart. Fiend Champ knocked to the ground. Get up, motherfucker. The fucking death sounds. Ooh. It's just such a satisfying game. Bunch of fucking peasants, mounted ransackers, and dangerous ex-wives. A beautiful sunrise here in this land of olives as the enemy flees as fast as it can off the battlefield. Come get some more, you bitches. Bring more armies. Alright, well, at least that was different than the previous fucking 12 battles. I will do my best to continue to edit these and try to make this entertaining for you fellas. I definitely think this is worth saving. This beautiful village here. I would live here. I don't know about you fellas. I'll even take a small house. Just give me a view of this fucking incredible Mediterranean-like environment. I will be the olive oil presser. I'll come over to your place. You guys can make up some spaghetti sauce or some shit like that. We'll all have hot Italian wives and stuff like that. These peasants are all Match.com peasants. Right? Look at these guys here. They're like, have a beard and an axe, and I like to kill nobles, seeking a female who likes long walks on the beach, clown face paint, homeless dude beards, and dominating the enemy with peasants. Maybe I'm just an idiot laughing at my own jokes, but this shit is just great. And a lot of the casualties here are the looters, right? We're losing these looters. That's okay, though. They're free, right? We can go get some more mounted ransackers, mounted pillagers. In fact, that's part of the reason I'm going to head west. We are going to head west here. I've got a deal. How beautiful. There's a bunch of prisoners here that we can add to our army. It's been a little while since we've got some extra troops. But I've got to deal with this other army here. And then I'm going to head west. And as I'm heading west, I'll explain more of why I'm just abandoning the center of the map here. It's both strategic, but also we need a break. You guys need a break from these fucking battlefields here. This fucking annoying... I might never fight near Onika Castle in the rest of my life. That was enough, right? 10 battles there, or whatever the fuck. I don't know how many of these, of course, I'm going to keep for the final production, for the final recording. But we'll see. Certainly that one will be in there. Alright, get a little bit of loot here. And we've got to deal with this other force. Now, of course, I could break into the castle, but I'm not about to risk 100 and something troops when we can just smash them in the open here. We've got some extra troops here. We'll have to spread around to some of our companions, and then we will head over there to devastate yet another Northern Empire force. It really does seem like there must be an Amazon.com for Northern Empire forces, and, you know, they arrive within fucking 24 hours of you ordering them, because this has been incredible how many enemy forces are here. We've got fucking looters galore. All of our units are full for once. I guess partly because we suffered so few casualties. We're holding this ridge and our archers are going to work, but man, has that cav charge really damaged our looters. I mean, we have looters. You can see them all. And this heavy cavalry here, this has been probably the hardest battle of all these. And we're barely winning. Like, you look up at the power bar and that does not look good. I think this army is finally starting to get worn out, and we're starting to lose some of the higher end troops, and unfortunately we're replacing them with looters and mounted pillagers. I see half my army throwing a rock at the enemy. That's not good, right? That's a very bad sign. You know, we're not suffering huge casualties in the battle, but 10 in a row, and eventually you just start to run out of good troops. So this has been a lot more bloody. Again, I have no idea. I might be narrating into space here. We're just trying to hold this back wall here and survive this final battle, and we're getting the fuck out of here. We're just not going to be able to sustain this enemy conveyor belt of death. It's just pouring troops at us nonstop. Our looters and pillagers are barely holding out here. Hugh the Hammer is feeling uncomfortable at this stage. Make one last charge here. I think we can push this enemy infantry line out of here. They're pushing up archers, but this has been a very bloody battle. If we have under 300 casualties, I'll be very happy. I can't see over this ridge because of this fucking grass. There's archers firing down in our ranks, but I think we've got it. Now, this was a very powerful force. That must have been 500 heavy cavalry, and they were all tier 5, like tier Battanian horsemen, and they're still pouring in all kinds of Aserai Faris and shit like that. This was a much nastier force. And again, I reiterate, we do have the strengthened AI mod, right? So the enemy is both getting free troops, a few free troops, but more importantly, their units are being upgraded faster than normal. I think they get something like 500 EXP per day. I'm not exactly sure of the formula, but I would suspect normally tier 2 units become tier 5 or 6 in about 2 weeks game time. So it's way faster, and that's with no combat. So it's way faster than vanilla Bannerlord, and this is intentional, right? We want this to be difficult. We want to simulate the sort of unlimited resources that nobles usually had anytime there was a revolt in one of their provinces. I'm finishing this battle, swinging my weapons like a fucking newbie. But it's all right. Victory here. We're going to get the fuck out of here. At least it's a victory. At times, this battle definitely looked like we were going to lose. And we got to get out of here. I got to go get reinforcements. I'm a little homesick, right? Hugh the Hammer is an Aserai character. Of course, he has a nice, I don't know, Scottish or German or something name. But we're gonna head west. There's some interesting battlefields out west, but more importantly, that's where the Southern Empire is, and I'm developing a plan in my head of how to figure out this situation. Now, if you look at our losses here, it's mostly looters. Every single army lost, 30 or 40 looters, because don't forget, at this stage, probably 60% of our army is good troops, and the other is absolute scuzz. These mounted pillagers, ransackers, and looters. I'll pick up a few more prisoners here. I've got to distribute a few more troops. But it's time to head west, and it's time to leave this valley of the dead, right? This valley is now completely chock full. There's no room anymore for grave sites of the enemy. I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that over the last 2 weeks of game time, we killed 12,000 enemy forces in this valley with just our one army, right? Just sort of sustaining via prisoners and a few reinforcing units. A couple looter bands joined us in between. But what a fucking crazy battle sequence this has been. I'm going to reinforce Onika Castle and head west. All right, well, there's 100 troops there. That's going to have to do. We're getting clans destroyed. These are all the Aserai units, right? They're bereft, just like ants that lose their queen. All of them, their heads are falling off. Our pets' heads are falling off. Danustica is being defended by Wahan the Golden. That is great news. That means the AI sees an opportunity there. The enemy has been sieging there a little while, and that's really good news. That means Wahan the Golden is probably going to capture and destroy that, because I think it was Khazate. It's been so long since they sieged, I actually forgot. But we're going to head west, and let's talk about that. Right, the Southern Empire is here. That is one of the game victory conditions. If you're not familiar with that, or if you've forgotten, destroying the Southern Empire and the Aserai were the two big victory conditions I started this campaign with. I wasn't sure we'd make it this far. This is probably episode 20, although there's at least some chance that, half of you have stopped watching, and that's a shame, because I do have an idea to make this campaign even more interesting. We shall see. I'll keep that as just a little teaser, as Wahan the Golden, he does indeed. He destroys this Khazate force. And look at that shit. Just captured a whole bunch of Khazate units and nobles. Eat shit, Khazate. It's beautiful, right? We have this one army out east, and they are holding the fort, right? They've actually taken a couple forts, quite literally, and also destroyed a couple 3 forces that have been sieging. So you can't ask for more than that. Of course, we set those guys up for success by giving them gold, giving them armies, giving their armies good units, right? We put a lot of good troops into Wahan the Golden's army, and it's paying off. It says he's heading to defend somewhere else, but I don't see anything else under siege. All right, so let's talk campaign strategy. You notice any looters around here? I don't. You notice any bandits or anything like that? Down here, we've got some troops. It's not great. There's a lot of looters there. That's a little bit better. We've got a couple castles, though, where we can restock our troops. I'm going to take... God, of course, there's more armies. I'm going to take, I think, Ortizia. Because what I want is I want a base to dump a bunch of our units from this army. We're going to dump, like... Of course, after we take the city, we're going to dump like half our force. And then what we'll do is head south and gather as many reinforcements and bandits and whatnot as we possibly can. And then we will turn right back around and head north. And what that'll do is that'll give us a reinforcing location that's very difficult for the enemy to siege. This fucking dipshit's going to sneak into the city. I wonder if we can get these guys to sally out. I would love to destroy this guy here. We got rebels. I love it. We'll just roleplay that our rebel armies are rampaging in the north. Sinon, or however you pronounce that. That's a Batanian city. Some of our infiltrated rebels are up there causing trouble. We're going to head to Ortizia. If you're confused, this is Jalmyrus, or Yalmyrus, I think some of you fellas would say it's pronounced. We're going to go right on by here. It doesn't have a name because it's buggy. Basically, I changed the name for a different campaign, and now it's kind of had this lasting bug. Just kind of ignore that shit. The Sturgeons are attacking the Batanians. I love when other kingdoms fight each other, right? That's a great thing for us. Wahan the Golden here is roaming about with the heads of his enemy. It says he's thinking. Maybe he's thinking about, philosophy or the French Revolution or something like that. We'll say Wahan the Golden is a smart fella. We're going to continue to pump up their influence, and that allows them to maintain that big army, right? These are the kind of things that'll help you, hopefully, in your campaign. I mean, we have 2 armies. That's it. We have nobody else that we can recruit. This is all we have, and we're fighting 5 kingdoms with a mediocre army, right? With no tier 6 units, hardly any tier 5 units. This has been a lot of fun, but obviously extraordinarily difficult. We've avoided any calamitous events in this campaign. It's been fairly miraculous. The Death for All mod is cranked up, so there's going to be a lot of noble death in this campaign. But so far, not too many for our side, which is obviously important. If Hugh the Hammer gets killed in battle, I don't know what character actually I'm going to take over. Right? You have to take over the reins of some character to run in first person, and I honestly don't have any idea who I want to use. So it's on to Ortizia here. We're going to siege Ortizia. There's a huge amount of rats here. It's very possible that they sally out and attack us, right? It's likely even that they attack us. We'll see. In fact, the garrison, there's more troops inside there than we have attacking, and we're definitely kicking the hornet's nest here, right? This is right in the middle of the Southern Empire territory. Danustika's already under siege. So Wahan the Golden is going to need to be a philosopher out there. He's facing what we were facing at Onika Castle, where it's just a conveyor belt of enemies, just like this shit. It just looks like a bunch of cockroaches. Instead of scattering when they turn the lights on, they're all surrounding us here. But I don't think they're going to attack with like 800 or something like that. They'll have to have a major army, I think, to try to upset our siege here of Ortizia. These are the other situations where I'm not sure if I'm going to show this. Maybe if this is an interesting siege or something like that, then we'll show you the siege assault of Ortizia. But this should be relatively easy. Of course, we're going to build our normal siege here, blow down the walls, and then shove a square in. Actually, we may even hurry through and not blow the walls down. Yeah, I mean, we're obviously a little bit on the clock here, so you want to be careful how much time you spend on this kind of stuff. And I guess there's just a small little group of archers here. That's all that's left. We're getting some EXP here. Oh, shit, although I'm getting my ass kicked. Damn, this guy's weak. This is Svato something or other. He's one of our companions, one of our mercenary companions, and I'm trying to level up his skills. When Hugh the Hammer goes down, fortunately he didn't die. He didn't make the the grunt sound when you're killed. I'm trying to level up these companions, right? Anytime the main character goes down, that's a great opportunity with the RTS mod to level up your other units, right? You can score 50, 60, 70 kills for your other units, which is way more than the AI will get with them. And you can obviously power level these guys. So relatively easy siege here. In fact, I would say this was highly efficient. It was heavily defended. They had some pretty good troops here and less than 50 dead. This is an outstanding result for us. So we'll probably spend, 10 or 15 minutes here. I've actually got to do a lot in this city, and I don't think I'm going to tell you guys or show you the process. Let me just explain what I'm going to do here. Like I said before, we're going to dump off a huge garrison here, and I'm going to leave a bunch of, we'll put a bunch of food in the market. I'm going to leave my wife here. We're actually going to leave Rema as the governor, and then I'm going to head south, and we're going to try to gather up as many troops as we can and come back and basically use Ortizia as a launching pad here, and you can see our army is down to 459 guys. Now, I'm actually going to leave a forest people army here, and I'll explain that in just a second. We've still got an army that's strong enough to defend itself in case we're assaulted, but hopefully not by a large force. I'm leaving this guy here hopefully so that he ends up defending Ortizia if he gets shoved into the city by an attacking force, and also to defend villages that are being raided. Meanwhile, we're going to head south. We're going to gather up some of these reinforcements. Of course, I'm hoping for looters. I'm hoping we get free reinforcements, and we're going to then bring all those troops north to Ortizia. It's basically a shuttling mission, right? I need reinforcements up here. Onica Castle's doing its job, right? It's attracting a bunch of attention. In fact, ironically, the enemy's burning down all of their own villages, right? I'm basically abandoning that area. Wahan the Golden is kind of lurking here outside Danustica. We can only hope that he can defend there. He's not attacking, so that means there's a large force there, right? We're probably going to lose Danustica. It just kind of is what it is. But we're going to head south. We're going to gather up a bunch of reinforcements here. And then, again, we're going to shuttle all these troops up north. We're about 600 units short of where we normally would like to be in our army size, right? So I can basically shuttle a bunch of troops north, and then we'll really be able to throttle the Southern Empire. Of course, just taking Ortizia is a big blow for them. And we just give up Onica Castle. Now, the best part about it is that oh, look at this. This is fucking beautiful. We've been waiting a long time for this. Level 44 is here. I could add to throwing, but you know what? When your character is named Hugh the Hammer, you kind of got to embrace the old hammer thing, right? We have this, he's got 6 focus points or whatever in two-handed. Let's just go ahead and see how ridiculous his two-handed skill gets, right? With the maximum 10 vigor and 6 focus points. Maybe you can get more on a character, but this is going to be the most I've ever seen. Now, oh, that's a nice perk there. This is under roguery. I think we're going to spend a perk point here. 50% more damage on foot based on your movement speed. So that's a perk we'll take. There's also a perk in there that when you kick a guy, it says it stuns him longer. I like that, right? That means this guy's going to be kicking guys and he'll have longer to swing his hammer at their face. I like that shit. Now, this is what I really want. I want desert bandits, right? I want some good units. But beggars can't be choosers, right? We'll take some looters. In fact, they're so close to Quyaz, it's kind of an opportunity to add Quyaz to our roster. There's no problem with us taking more cities, right? Even though the Northern Empire is not part of the victory conditions I've talked about. That's not good. Wahan the Golden is leaving the scene of Danustica. That means the AI is like, well, we're not going to be able to help there. That's a bummer. We're probably going to lose Danustica. It is what it is, though, right? That's just sometimes it's par for the course. There's lots of looters here. In fact, look at this shit. The looter zerg is, and this is how it happens, right? These looter zergs are hammering the Jawal here. Well, I don't want all these looters fighting. I want them joining our army. So don't get killed here, fellas. 800 looters. It's hilarious, man. We just have this humongous fucking cruise ship, Walmart, choose your analogy, fucking horde of looters. I mean, I don't even think we can carry all these units, but this is what I was talking about, right? 400 units all of a sudden. We have Ortizia is nicely garrisoned, right? Ortizia is not gonna fall for a while. It'll probably be attacked, but we're gonna have ample time to get up there. And now we can load up. In fact, this is so many looters down here. I think it makes sense for us to go ahead and attack Quyaz while we're down here, right? We can add Quyaz to the mix, and our you know, look at this guy. He's got some fucking Drodzinic champions. There's nothing I can do about this. And now he's got 100 looters to even out that fact. And I'm going to have to dump some of these looters into the wilderness. That was just so many looters. But what we could do here is I'm going to destroy these Jawal first. We'll let them beat down that looter. And I think we'll take Quyaz, add it to the list, dump a bunch of looters in there, and then head south and grab some other units from these other locations. I think there'll still be enough time, even if Ortizia is sieged, to then get back up north, right? So much of camp... Oh, fuck. I don't know if we can catch this guy now. They're disorganized. I think we're going to catch them. Come on, come on. Lavinia Castle's under siege. Come with us, bitches. Fucking Jawal. Man, that's a lot of casualties for an auto-resolve. But then again, there's probably a lot of looters getting killed in there. Oh, and how beautiful is this, right? We're instantly restocked. The casualties, in fact, we're overly stocked. Like, we have so many troops right now. They're ghetto, but we just have tons of troops. And this was really lacking near Onika Castle. You can almost think of it like grass for our horses. Our horses were out of grass there. We ate all the grass for 100 square miles, and there was no looters. There was no way for our army to get reinforcements. This is beautiful, right? This is... there's plenty of looters around here, so much that they were rampaging on troops and capturing fucks, right? They were gonna, if we didn't interfere there, they were definitely gonna capture those Jawal units, because those looters were boring down on those Jawal forces, and that was for sure gonna end up in the little action title in the lower left where it says Jawal's captured by the looters. Now look at this shit. They're burning down their own villages because we're just giving up those territories, right? So they're sieging the castle and they're burning the villages that we're giving up. So that's even better for us right there. It's like they're burning down their own fucking property. We're abandoning that shit. I got to get Rayma. Rayma was left at Ortizia. I want her reassigned as the governor here. And I think we're going to siege Quyaz, right? It's going to be some casualties. But we've got a little bit of time, right? Ortizia is well defended. It's a perfect opportunity for us to push the Northern Empire out of the south here. This has been kind of rankling me for a while, that these insolent fucking Northern Empire bitches just decided that they could take a castle right at the entrance to the beautiful sand home of our bandit revolt. I better get some more caffeine here. Lavinia Castle's being defended by Wahan the Golden. I mean, how fucking beautiful is that? Move infantry up here in a big shield wall. We've got a ton of archers and skirmishers now that are going to pound these archers off the wall. The enemy's being really aggressive here with archers, so we're going to teach them a lesson. All these archers on the walls are dead men. And then I think we're going to grab a fire catapult and just blow a hole in the defense. Although, you know what? There's so much arrow fire here, so many mounted pillagers and shit like that shooting arrows. I don't know if there's going to be any reason to get on this catapult. I see massive green death spam as our archers just scorch everything in sight. I don't see any targets, so we're going to go. Let's just blast right through this place. Even though the entire ram unit, every single guy on the ram there is a looter. That's okay, right? We're still gonna do this shit. I'm gonna be able to take let's see, the first. The third's on the ram. I could take the first and the second, and we can just take these guys right through this hole, right? This is the easy way, of course, to take a castle, but you still have to have a good process here. Let's see if we can just drive these guys right in. We can. All right, watch this shit. Let's drag this first in a square and just shove it right into the enemy midst, right? That way, that basically occupies a lot of their troops, and those troops this way, they won't charge. They will just push their way in first. Get the fuck out of here, fucking... dude trying to throw a javelin at my face. Now, I've called the second corps to follow me, and we could put those guys right here now next to, you know, fucking militias. Might have to fucking burn down your little hut. The second corps is coming in behind the first, and these guys will now be set up. Of course, there's melee in here, but there's a lot of archers in the second corps, and these guys will be able to scorch enemy units across this battlefield. The big key, though, is getting huge amounts of troops within the keep. Die, dog. Just pound these guys that are attacking the square, and then, oh shit, Manavliaton's winding up. Get the fuck out of here. And then we got to go tend to the gate here. So the second corps is pushed in. Let's get more divisions pushed through this hole. We got a huge breach here. And now we can start clearing out these archers. They've got a ton of archers on the wall, and they're now coming right into the fucking midst of a huge amount of melee and archers shooting them. In fact, I see rocks being thrown at them. That's hilarious looking. Oops, I didn't see you there, lady. You look like a fucking fence post. They vigorously chase these archers. They're trying to reform, probably near the gate. We're not letting that shit happen, right? And the enemy's just melted here. This was even worse massacre than Ortizia. I mean, we blew Quyaz off the fucking rails here. The enemy's gonna start routing. Yeah, help! Now we can open the door. We're all gonna die? Yes, you are. You got fucking angry looters pouring through the gates. You fucks are dead. Alright. The enemy's sending a bunch of archers at us. Right? Come get some. You guys can all catch a javelin too. We got a javelin here for all you fucks. And this was painless. Really was. Of course, the battle's not over yet, but heck, I jumped down and got a javelin right between the eyes. This is all they got left. They got like 80 archers over here. They got some good looking archers in there. There's a lot of Fiend champs and stuff like that, but our infantry's pouring in now. There's going to be guys heading up that siege tower. These guys are sandwiched. Now, I don't want to leave a huge garrison here, although, you know what? I can actually. I can leave a huge garrison of mounted pillagers and looters and stuff like that here, right? This is, look at, they're throwing rocks. There's little rocks being thrown at the enemy. That's our looters getting revenge. It's so fun having looters throwing petrified rocks at the enemy in large quantities. And now we can leave these looters in charge of the city, right? It's a total looter takeover here. Look at how successful this is. 21 losses. Now they retreated to the keep, but that's going to be an insta-crushing. We're still leveling up his hammer, though, so we'll just kind of run through this really quick. But Quyaz was an easy take here. We're going to be able to shove it full of troops, right? We have all these looters and mounted pillagers and shit like that. And just simply a total change day and night from where we were an episode or two ago when we were fucking dealing with never-ending enemies in that Onika Valley. We've gotten out of that fucking bad loop. And now we have another head of steam going, right, for the next stage of this campaign. A hopeful destruction, a final annihilation of this insolent Southern Empire army. And then we shall see where the campaign goes from there. Our troops all yelling, die to the fucking enemy as we close in and capture and add Quyaz to the mix. I mean, this was just a straight out rampage. No prisoners. It would have been nice if there were some prisoners in here to rescue. Of course, that's usually the case in this campaign, right? With the exception of looters, there's almost no prisoners that we can take. The good news, though, is that with so few casualties, and that's even more amazing, 21 deaths, despite the fact that we have like 400 or 500 bandits. Looters, not just bandits, but looters and mounted pillagers. In fact, let's see what this looks like here. Normally, I skip this part for you. We'll just do this quickly.
I am honored.
You are honored to meet us.
Let me introduce myself.
Actually, I'll just show you the aftermath of this. We'll shove a bunch of looters in here, mounted pillagers and stuff like that, and I'll show this to you on the other side. We'll save you some time. All right, so we'll head south. Quyaz now, a garrison of 800, so very similar to Ortizia. That should hold for a good long while. Of course, Ortizia's under siege, and we're going to tempt fate a little bit and head south here. And as you can see, the garrison, like I said, almost 500 exclusively of those looter type of units. So we're gonna tempt fate a little bit here, although we really should have time. It's going to take them a while to siege down that many troops, and of course, we're looking for desert bandits. We're looking for some better than normal looter freebies here, right? We're looking for some volunteers across the frontier. The east is just under assault here. Wahan the Golden is like a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest. He is very busy. He's running around taking castles and defending cities. He just defended Danustica. We lost Danustica eventually. That was the second siege over there. And he's almost as busy as we are, right? We have Ortizia under siege here. More than likely, at some point or other, there's going to be another target under siege. In fact, Quyaz may be assaulted because we're dealing with 5 different kingdoms at war with us. So as you can see, of course, we have a lot of space now for add troops, right? We've got mostly good troops left after dumping mostly looters and brigands and whatnot inside Quyaz. And this is what I'm talking about, right? Free looters. Although I'm still looking for some better units than this. In particular, we're looking for the one that says Desert Bandits. Of course, anybody who's played an Aserai campaign knows that there are these Desert Bandits that run around down here. Damn, it's nothing but looters here. With the Dangerous Bandit mod that we're using, not only, of course, do you get these huge bands of looters, you know what, we're going to grab some of these guys, but there are also other type of looters out there with sort of artificially better bandits. Settlement Razi is under siege. Man! So the enemy never ending, right? Of course, this is... I'm ultimately happy about this. We're going to spend 30 seconds here disseminating these bandits to a few of these armies, and then we're going to run these down to Bari Hal Castle. We will grab some good troops from there. We're basically just shuttling troops around our frontier, leaving lower level troops, of course, in garrisons, and making sure that we have a good amount of strong troops in our army. But ultimately, we are fighting a lot of battles with these mounted pillagers and mounted ransackers by necessity. We're using them as essentially fodder, cannon fodder. So Bari Hal Castle, again, I should mention, the Dangerous Bandit mod means that there are these specialized bandits out there, right? You get Desert Bandits. It won't just be looters. It'll be the... Actually, I'm not sure. I can't remember what it is. Desert Brigand or something like that. This is attacking behavior. Do you see how he's moving there? I've played this game long enough to know that that is very distinct. You see how he's honing in on something? I imagine, indeed, I was going to say, I imagine he's going to stop. He's attacking something. So some kind of target of opportunity. Wahan the Golden is just up there. Man, I mean, he's a fucking vicious motherfucker. He's up there just capturing bitches left and right. He's had like 5 or 6 successful battles, and Zahara the Spice Vendor was quite successful as well. And this is obviously the experience I have playing Bannerlord allows me to set these guys up for the maximum level of success, right? We are giving these companion armies the best possible chance for success out there, and anybody who's played Bannerlord knows that that's not an easy thing, right? These other armies of yours routinely do stupid shit and get captured, but by a little bit of micromanagement, filling their units with good troops, giving them the gold and castles necessary to raise troops, they have been highly successful, and it's been a critical assistance to us in this campaign. All right, so Bari Hal Castle is shoved through bad troops, and now we're looking for Desert Bandits, right? Desert Raiders or whatever they're called. Somewhere down near this hideout, there they are. Desert Bandits, 147 of them. Now, this is going to look strange, right? If you haven't watched any episodes of this campaign, look at that. Beni Zilal and Jawal. The idea is that there's basically some of the minor clans as part of these bandits. And of course, these guys will probably join our army. We may have to fight them, but most of these bandit armies are just straight up joining us. Look at the success again. This is incredible. I mean, he's wiping the slate clean over there. He's going to run out of steam eventually, but what a fucking badass Wahan the Golden. I mean, he's just a medieval fucking gangster. He's over there just rounding bitches up and bitch slapping them like Denzel Washington on the street. Oh, you're going to shoot me, motherfucker? Bang. So look, these are the units. So Nomad Bandit, they're not that good themselves, but they upgrade to the Harami, which is a pretty good javelin throwing cavalry. And how beautiful, right? These troops are free. We can now run north. I might even grab one more band of looters here and shove them into Ayn Balik. Oh shit! He just got done destroying a force, and look at this gangster go. He just attacked. I think that's what's happening there. He might be getting attacked, but I think he's attacking another force outside Lavinia Castle. Wahan the Golden is a medieval gangster. This guy, he is badass. I mean, he's just doing work out east, and it's so beautiful to have that kind of support. We're working out here west. We're fighting all these different kingdoms. I'm just going to take a bunch of these. I think we can dump a bunch of these into, what is this, Ayn Balik Castle or whatever here, grab whatever garrison is there, and then head north. Ortizia's under siege. Quyaz is probably imminently under siege, and obviously out east it's a mess. Now, 178 inside here. We should be able to put almost all of these troops right inside this garrison And even better, right? We're going to load up on insane looters and Tasmanian devils and elite looters and desert terrors. This is beautiful. So 60 seconds here while I do this. It's possible I'll just edit this out for you, but I've gotten so quick at doing this, maybe I'll just talk my way through it. So shuttling troops and the logistics of troops is a critical part of Bannerlord, and of course that's been critical to any war leader throughout human history, right? Whether it was Alexander, who developed several amazing systems of logistics, or Napoleon, it's very important for you, the commander, to have a system that works of transferring troops. And let's do just a recap here of like the last hour. We were stuck in a never-ending turnstile conveyor belt of enemies attacking us at Onika Castle. Now we've been able to reload our army, refresh our units, and on top of that, load up our garrisons to bear. Really, these garrisons are going to be stuffed full by the time we load up here. Our army is improved because now we have all these insane looters and whatnot from these other castles, right? We'll take all of these guys. Although we're a little overstocked here. Obviously, I don't want to have deserters. And the next thing you know, the next army we face is going to be facing quite a juggernaut army, at least juggernaut for this campaign, right? We don't have tier 6 units. Juggernaut is a relative term. But as far as our own army strength, look at this, a bunch of Jawal Bedouins and shit like that. Our army is vastly improved, and all it took was essentially making some plans and doing some logistics here, right? We're transferring weaker troops to these cities, taking advantage of the looters that are roaming the landscape, loading up our garrisons, and hopefully this is what we needed to sort of turn the page or get the upper hand on our enemy here, right? This nonstop Imperials attacking us, and they have nobody else they're fighting, right? The Western Empire, Northern Empire, Southern Empire. I don't think they're at war with anybody except us, which is part of the reason it's been nonstop. But now it's a race, right? Now we got to get back to Quyaz. We got to kind of hurry up there. Who the fuck is this guy? I think this is one of our minor clans. Yeah, Golden Beach Bums. So we can recruit this guy, right? We'll add him to the army. Oh, sure, the Forest People is finally ready to rejoin. He's at Hubyar. He should be able to make it to us in, 3-4 days. There's more looters down here, but our stomach is full, right? We just had an all-you-can-eat at the Golden Buffet. Wahan the Golden here, nervously watching his numbers go down. He's going to lose eventually, but man, has he been on a roll, right? If this guy was playing blackjack, get up and leave the table. He's made a bunch of money. He's won like 5 or 6 battles in a row. And of course, he could be getting prisoners. He could be acquiring looters and stuff like that. And he wins again. I mean, what a gangster. This guy is just fucking savage. Now, Razi's under siege over there, but I just can't worry about that, right? We've got our own fish to fry over here. Ortizia, we just put our wife there, right? We can't put I was going to say she's pregnant. She's not pregnant right now, but we can't put our wife there. Of course, there's a giant Northern Empire force here. Well, one unit at a time here. Of course, the conveyor belt continues, but at least now we're starting to get some good troops, and our garrisons are full, right? They have to deal with 840 troops at Quyaz. And Ortizia had 800, now it's down to 550, but that's going to allow us to get there, right? This is such a critical part of Bannerlord, this is one of the biggest player advantages. It takes a while for the enemy to siege down a city or castle. Wahan the Golden going to Hassenfolk for some much needed rest. Hopefully he deals with whatever's at Razi, but he's already, even if he gets captured at this stage, I'll take it, right? He's been tremendous. And we're going to be able to get to Ortizia and beat back whatever force is there. It might even be so small we auto-resolve. We'll see what it looks like here. I didn't see who it was. I think it was Southern Empire. But by stuffing these garrisons full, right, we now come north with a full army ready to roar. We're looking to expand. We'll run back to Quyaz after defending Ortizia. Yorig of the... So the other armies, the other kingdoms are up there fighting. The Valandians and the Sturgeons, it seems like they've been at war for 10 years. Oh, shit. There's a bunch of Southern Empire forces here. It looks like there are a bunch of smaller armies helping the big armies. That's fine. Good. We like it, right? That's more rats in the trap. Let's assault all these Southern Empire fucks at the same time. We'll bring in some food. We'll bring in some troops and rescue this city. We'll get laid, right? The wife is there. You know you're getting laid there, fellas. Oh, look at this shit. Beautiful, too. Lavina of the Khazaits taken prisoner by the looters. I mean, it's just fantastic, right? These looters are out there just causing mayhem, helping us and taking our enemy prisoner. And we're about to get laid here, right? We're about to play the hero, although we got to win first. You know, we're going to take on this large force. I'm not going to sneak in. I could sneak in. We're going to wait for a little bit of daylight here, and then we're going to play like true studs here and attack this Southern Empire force out in the open. Come get some, Baranor and Mina and all you fucking dipshit Southern Empire forces. Face this onslaught of our desert rebels and Harami and bandits and whatnot. Okay, so it's this beach landscape. I could hide down there, but we're not hiding, right? We're going to use this ridge over here on the left. In fact, if the enemy's willing to attack us, we'll definitely use that as a reverse slope decline. If I had 500 troops, we would use that beach, but we don't, right? We have 1,100. Our bandits and looters are proud. They're holding up their fucking arms in the air like, yeah, let's teach these bitches a lesson. And we're going to try to sweep through this Southern Empire force. Now that ridge, of course, is definitely going to work for defense, but we attack them. So there's a chance that they sit back defensively, and we will adapt, we will adjust if that's the case. Always important to have a defensive posture initially in battles, and then go offensive if the enemy requires you to. The only alternative, the only time you're charging is when there's some kind of location you want to siege, or seize rather, and you want to race there, right? Like the Platzen Heights or whatever it was called, where Napoleon raced there in the Battle of Austerlitz. Here, we're going to play defensive first and see what the enemy does. There's a gorgeous ridge. It looks like another just absolutely incredible setting with light. There's like a sunrise coming up over the hill here. The enemy's a very mixed army, and it's going to be a strong army, right? There's 2,000 forces here, right? So they're going to have at least a couple waves of tier 4, tier 5 units. This is going to be a gnarly battle. But it's also, the Southern Empire is very close to what feels like a last stand, right? They are really, really war-weary. We have just inflicted defeat upon defeat upon defeat on this empire, and they must be starting to wear down, right? Even with the strength and AI mod, they do start to run low on resources, and just constant warfare is really got to be wearing down our foe. Bannerlord is for sure just a war of attrition. A lot of times it comes down to finances. I remember the very first campaign I played, like most people, I had way too many units. As soon as I started to develop an army and garrison, I'm like, oh, I'm going to put 40 Fian champs and 60 Sturgeon veteran infantry in this castle and 100 in there. Now I got 200 Fian champs. And the next thing you know, my income said minus, 37,000. And I was like, oh shit, I'm totally broke. And of course, you got to make adjustments. Well, they are attacking. At least their cavalry's coming up. We like this, right? This is very good for us. We've got a line of relatively weak cavalry, but behind them, shock troops, skirmishers, and a bunch of archers. Whatever charges in here is a dead man, right? They have no chance of penetrating these defenses. Our archers are shooting uphill. The flaming arrows are firing off into the sunset. We've got a bunch of Jawal now because of the dangerous bandit looters down there. How beautiful is that? Right now, we can't be careless with them. It's not like those are all over the place. Those specialized looters, if you want to call them that, right? The bandit bands where there's Jawal Bedouins and stuff like that, those are very rare. Mountain bandits, we got mountain bandits 2, 3, 4 episodes ago. I don't actually know how long ago it's going to be, of course, because I've been playing for a while. But those are not real common. And so, of course, we've got to be intelligent with our units. Not that we're ever just throwing our units away in this campaign, right? We're always trying to fight with efficiency, tactics, intelligence. Yeah, so the death spam looks great. Their cavalry is just, frankly, it's suiciding into our units here. Now, they have some horse archers. That represents a threat. Their high-level horse archers are definitely going to cause some losses to our units. We just, we don't have good enough troops to handle a whole bunch of tier 5 horse archers just plowing the road here. But because they don't have archer and infantry support, we're just scorching them. And it does look like, indeed, their archers and infantry are just back in a defensive knot back there. So we will kill their horse archers and cavalry readily if the enemy's going to suicide them, right? They're typical, very mediocre AI here attacking in detail, allowing us to kill them in detail. We will then deal with their archers and infantry afterwards. So they're not attacking. That means we are going to have to get aggressive here. So I'm already thinking of a plan, right? You want to try to envelop the enemy in this kind of a situation. Ideally, they would charge us, but if they don't, we're going to have to get aggressive. And it's going to be difficult because they're going to have... It's 300 and something archers, which is nasty, and they're going to have probably 200 or 300 infantry, which is also a problem. Right, we're charging Legionary with desert bandits and stuff like that. So this cavalry is all but mopped up. It's time to start looking up at this higher ridge to see what other opportunities are here. Still being systematic here. The enemy's kind of spraying us with arrows through the holes in the rocks here. We'll tuck some units away a little bit more defensively. But I think we sweep from our left to our right. The opposite direction as I'm facing right now. These fucking horse archers won't fuck off. Kill these fucking guys. Die, you bastard. That's such an earnest fucking death cry. The guy's just like, he sounds furious. Die, you bastard. It's exactly what I sound like on the highway when I'm driving my car and there's some guy driving slow in the fast lane. That's exactly how I sound. You die, you bastard. And then I'm like, oh yeah, he's just some dude driving his car. Never mind. Like a lot of you young kids, I get a little road rage-ish sometimes. Not one of those stupid assholes that just shoot and kills people when I'm on the highway, but I get irritated as fuck at people driving like dipshits on the highway. I hate rude people. The Hannibal Lecter, he would only eat the free-range rude. If you don't know what I'm talking about, that's the whole Silence of the Lamb and Red Dragon series with the incredible... Okay, I'll do it just this one time with the incredible Sir Anthony Hopkins. I despise the whole nobility thing. But Anthony Hopkins is a great fucking actor. And if I was going to give anybody the Sir, it would be somebody who earned it with a savage performance like Hannibal Lecter in Silence of the Lambs. But all the other bitches, especially those that are born into aristocracy, yeah, fuck those guys. I'm not calling those guys Sir ever. Even if I were to be arrested, they're like, you're under arrest if you don't call him Sir. I'd be like, well, eat a dick. Still not calling him Sir. I'm definitely one of the original anti-royalists. All right, we're on a tangent here, but I'm waiting for the enemy to do something, and they're not. They are charging with another band of cavalry here, inflicting major losses on our light horse archers. So it's time for us to shift into gear here. Let's start using this left side. But Hannibal Lecter always used to say he would eat the rude. He hated rude people, too. I don't know anybody who likes rude people, and that's one of the most distressing things right now about American politics is rudeness seems to be popular. Discourtesy actually seems to be, like people brag about it. Like, yeah, we told Mexico to eat a dick. I don't know why anybody would be proud of that kind of behavior. It doesn't matter who your political candidate, who you're in favor of. Acting like a rude fuck is never cool. It's just... you know, maybe if you're doing it to your friends and you're just kind of trolling them or something like that. But acting rude to strangers is not cool, kids. I don't care who you support for president. All right, so we're going to start to wrap up this force, although what an animal this is going to be to wrap up, right? This is hundreds of fucking troops that we're dealing with here, and they are in a good position. They effectively have a Peekaboo Ridge defense on us. Now, there are ways for us to mitigate that, right? One of the ways we're going to do that is swing to the side here, but there's simply no way to deal with the scenario we're dealing with here without significant losses. That's just all there is to it. We could try going towards the beach and take a really wide approach and do like a 180 spin on them, but it would take a long time. And this battle has already been kind of extended because I've been rampaging about everything from the nobility to rude people. Hannibal Lecter eating the free-range rude. He'd be very full in America right now. Hannibal Lecter would be eating a lot of people. All right, so I've got the 4th, 5th Division right here. We're going to bring these guys and swing them hard to our left, swing them downhill to give them line of sight so that they both shoot the enemy and cut off their retreat. But there's going to be losses here, right? I'm exposing these archers. While we're doing that, we're going to shove the 1st and 2nd Corps towards the enemy in shield walls. The 6th and 3rd will be tucked in here over on the left as well. And then I'm going to suicide the 2nd Cav, right? We're doing that because I need all these hundreds of archers to have a big stinky camel in their face. Even if it means those camels die, this is going to be a sacrifice we need to make here. They've got a ton of infantry as well. This is going to be ugly. Fucking punk-ass Southern Empire motherfuckers. They actually have a pretty decent formation now. Their infantry is protecting their archers. We're still just going to drive cavalry and this 1st Division right into the heart of their formation. I don't know if you saw it there. I formed the 1st into a square and shoved it behind the enemy because I want our infantry basically just pushing way into the enemy, not attacking, just shoving in like some diabolical wedge. And that's exactly what I wanted to happen, right? That 20 seconds where the enemy's shifting around, that time is vital for us to move our units into position and let our archers start shooting. They're now shooting. Our 2nd and 3rd units can start to bore in here, including those shock troops. In fact, they could just be told to charge. But we've got a giant battle on our hands now, right? And it's going to be messy. Their archers are spreading out really well, actually. This is better than the AI normally does. And I'm just going to try to drive camels through here and keep those guys busy while the rest of our units move up. Camels charge. The enemy infantry is intercepting our camels, so there's going to be a lot of losses there. The enemy's defending quite well here. It's almost like they're watching what we're doing here, but this is just incidental. Most of the time, they act like dipshits, and this is one of those battles that kind of redeems the enemy. They're acting halfway decent here, and the death spam looks like it right there, cutting down our cavalry. Their infantry's doing a good job of shielding them from a lot of our cavalry. However, our shock troops and cavalry, because they were shielded, are probably arriving now, and it's going to cause losses here. Enemy losses are incoming, right? The screen's going to flush green here very soon. Their archers are now exposed. In come our 1st Division, our 3rd Division. I'm going to join them on foot. And the wave just started turning green, although I can't get too cocky here. I only have 1/3 of my normal health. Still, Hugh the Hammer is godlike with the hammer in his hand, and we're wading in. It's a beautiful landscape. We're just going to fucking try to cause carnage here, even if he goes down, right? If this guy goes down defending or trying to attack and defend his wife, what a fucking superhero, right? That's how we're going to play this campaign. No fear. Fuck you bitches trying to stab me. Our 3rd Corps has definitely arrived. You can tell by the death spam. The enemy is just dying en masse. I don't have time to look at the death spam, but I assume a lot of them are Tasmanian devils and fucking angry housewives. Their archers are starting to scramble, but because of where we put our archers, it's cut off their retreat and is cutting them down with enfilade fire. So the screen flushes green. A lot of their archers didn't make it out of there. Anticipating the enemy trying to kite, you could just cut them off, and that's the same thing you would do to a human opponent. You would anticipate their move like a chess game, cut it off, and destroy them. 236. Shit, there's a whole nother stage of this battle coming up here. Those are ours. The enemy's setting up another defensive line here, right over the other side of this ridge. So this battle's not over yet. All right, let's get strategic here. Even though we've got some messy divisions now, I've got barely any health. Our divisions are mixed to the 3rd and the 4th Division. Unfortunately, with the battle size mod, they do get mixed in huge battles like this. And we now have horse archers and shock troops, archers and crossbows mixed with each other. I'm just going to send all of our cavalry to the far right here. That's going to be our swinging flank side. The 1st Corps can come over the center here. What else do we got here? All these guys running sideways. I wish I could tell these infantry to say, fucking stand where you are. We've got a good amount of archers left in the 5th Corps. They can push up once we make our attack. And what do we got here? Yeah, the enemy's got a big line out there in the valley. So it's another Peekaboo Ridge, right? Incidentally, just sort of accidentally, the enemy has done some pretty good tactics in this battle. We know it's not generative AI. It's just not a thing. In fact, I was talking to a guy who knows a lot about that shit, works for a company that does generative AI, and he said we'll probably... I was going to say never, almost never see it in video games because the processors required to run generative AI are massive, right? Like huge rooms full of servers of expensive NVIDIA chips. He said we're probably not going to see it in video games for a long time. So, alas. The good news is that also means we're going to be able to beat up on AI for a little while before it gets the upper hand on us. All right, so a little bit of a suicide charge over the top here with the 1st and 3rd. This cav division I'm trying to wrap around behind the enemy, and they're moving really slow. It might be too many of them. They're also low-level bandits, so they're being shot off their horses en masse. But they have wrapped up around behind the archers here, and this enemy's about to get skewered. We've got shock troops and crossbow arriving at the center here. A whole bunch of horse archers off to their left flank. We've cut off their retreat again, and we're now chasing them uphill. Yeah, more in here. There's no mercy here. You don't wait for the enemy to reset again here. Just everybody pours in. All these dipshit bandits holding their broomstick. It really does look like they broke off the haft of a broomstick, sharpened it, and said, "I'm a cavalryman now." I mean, they have like no armor at all. They're just like, these are like servants who got on their master's horse or some random donkey off in the field and said, "Yeah, cavalryman." There's a woman next to me with an afro and a sledgehammer just crushing guys. And the enemy's on the run now. The enemy, of course, is to their third or fourth wave, so they're the weak troops too. And this battle is over. The enemy's fleeing into a dusty sunrise, getting decked on their back. And beautiful. A bunch of fucking overzealous. Holy shit, look at how fast she's moving. She must have a speed banner. That gal in her prom dress is rocketing after the enemy. She looks like a sadistic psychopath. Just waiting for one of them to turn so she can cut him down. I love it, man. Fucking beautiful. A bunch of militia archers. Mounted pillagers and desert revolutionaries. I mean, it's just so enjoyable to have all these units taunting the enemy after a battle. There's one of our few good units. The Sword Sisters are good units. We got guys with no armor at all. He's got a fucking bare-chested. It's fucking awesome. And a thorough ass-whipping here of this Southern Empire force. Still have 800 and some units left. The garrison, we'll be able to restock the garrison here, and then it's time to head south. But you know what, friends? I'm going to wrap this episode up. This has been a marathon for me. This will probably be 2, 3, 4 episodes. We'll see how I break it down later on here. One last final gift here from Tale Worlds and this system in this episode. A bunch of prisoners. We'll recruit a few prisoners here, restock the garrison, and move to the next phase, friends. I've got some ideas. I'm going to make it interesting for you fellas. I'll continue to try to provide content that entertains, right? That's the key. We're going to try to avoid redundancy. We're going to try to avoid just the slog where you endless sieges that are boring and stuff like that, where you have 9,000 troops and sieging cities of 600. We're not going to do that shit. We're going to do our best to make this campaign entertaining for you fellas. And with all that said, please leave comments. Please hit the like button on the way out. We get a little autosave here. And I will talk to you, friends, next time.